Welcome to the first episode of Link Outside the Bio with Professor Def. And Link Outside the Bio is just where we're going to be discussing hip hop in different forms, deeper listening skills, and just engaging with the work beyond just the surface, beyond just streaming. What is beyond the beats and the rhymes, right? Today, I'm going to be diving into an essay that I wrote. And so this is my first visual essay, and I'm sharing it with y'all. And it is called What Makes a Great Rap Verse? What makes a great rap verse? The example that I'm going to use to demonstrate this theory at work is Billy Wood's verse on Dog, which is from the 2025 album that Armand Hammer put out. The title was Mercy. It is produced entirely by The Alchemist. Definitely check that out if y'all haven't gotten into it yet. It's phenomenal. Chef's kiss. For those that don't know, Armand Hammer is an experimental hip hop group consisting of Elucid and Billy Woods. For those that don't know, Armand Hammer is a hip hop group consisting of two members, Elucid and Billy Woods. And they're named after an enigmatic American billionaire industrialist petroleum executive who was also an art collector who lived from 1898 to 1990. So that's where Armand Hammer gets the name. So let's get right into it. Number one, what makes a great rap verse is that it animates the unseen. What do I mean by that? I think a great rap verse brings language to something that we don't see every day, or the things we can't see at all. So, animating the unseen while getting at something known or felt, but at times is beyond sayable. And I believe that the pen is capable of carrying the power of a camera lens. And it's up to the wordsmith, the person writing those bars, to pan, zoom, to focus, to light, to cut, to provide the aspect ratios of what the listener is going to see. We are literally putting images in people's heads. I would even say that we're providing the depth of feel. Ooh, you see what we did there? So the goal is to provide the aspect ratios, the depth of field that the listener will experience during the duration of the verse. And the goal of the verse is to immerse. You feel me? So the question is, when listening to a rap verse, can I see it? Or can I feel it? Next, I want to consider number two, how the writer brings us in. And this does have some things to do with immersion, right? So I think one of the best ways to do that is turns of phrase. Twice upon a time there was a boy who rhymed, who lived happily ever after, but that's another chapter. Like, that's the beginning. That's the beginning of the verse that Andre's spitting on Equimini. So it's like it's using something that we already know. We already understand once upon a time, flipping that turn of phrase, right? So you could turn a phrase or you can ask a question. And I think questions are highly generative. So a question can act as a portal or a mirror on the journey through the artist's journal, right? I believe that Armand Hammer specifically is approaching songwriting as literature. They are poets first and foremost. One of the many jobs of an artist or a poet is to clarify things. And when I first heard Dogeared, I literally had to pull the car over and make sure that I heard every single morsel. Did I just hear what I thought I heard? So when imagery, and we'll get into that, that's another one. When the imagery of the stanza caresses the ear, another characteristic of a great rap verse. Number three, does it contain a lyric that haunts me? Really, is there a bar in here that sticks to my ribs in a certain type of way? Do I think about it later? Do I keep thinking about it? Do I find a way to use it in conversation? Usually, a line like that is a philosophical observation that follows me home. That's what I mean by that. That's what I mean by haunt. And I like when a writer engages rigorously like that. And I think that's when the stanzas, the bars, the rhymes can become more than just words associating. What starts to develop in the listener's mind or the inner eye is a series of backstories that need revisiting as each line kind of catches like a thready cardigan that you have that you're like, yo, this joint be sticking to everything, it be coming apart, but you love it because it's beautiful and it's the patina of it all, right? But neither here nor there. I am always looking for this in a verse. I want to find a line that makes me want to start the entire song over. And Elucid, which is the rapper on the first verse, actually has one. It has a few of these, but obviously a lyrical giant in his own right. When I say Write, you feel me? And he has that in his verse when he utters the line, part of keeping your word isn't saying much. Mic drop. Feedback across generations. Bar alert. Let's get into the Billy Woods verse so that I can show you an example or a few examples of what I'm talking about, what makes a great rap verse. So I'll read it now. And definitely listen to the song because I might butcher the cadence and he has like a certain way that he be nuancing through the beat. But I'll share it with y'all now. She finished her drink and looked at me inquisitively asking, "What's the role of a poet in times like these?" I never answered, but it stuck with me all week, riding the bus, fixing something to eat, putting the kids to sleep. Walking the streets at night, burning a tree, drafty windows got me turning up the heat. Downstairs neighbors called about a leak. Michaela called and we talked till 3 in the morning. My agent called about touring. I dreamt of boats loose from their moorings. We'll see if they're seaworthy. We'll see. I took the 4 to the Fulton, transferred to the 3. We'll see what washes up on the beach. Galoshes on, he leaps into the puddles with both feet. On the way home, bacon grease by the stove for frying eggs, hashed potatoes. I'm smoking in bed, scrolling my phone, novel on the nightstand untouched. Sleight of hand, past moments of dread. Spider-Man perched alone on the ledge, mask off like Future. Rain seleucid. Through the gutters, lovers searching. The bar is dark, cars double parked, out-of-state license plates, chin-ups on scaffolding. Pull up, what's happening? She said, "You got an answer for me yet?" I said, "I'm still grappling." Ooh, a lot of things stand out here. Let's start with characteristics of a great rap verse. Word choices. Ooh, we getting granular. Word choices. That's the key ingredient. That is one of the key ingredients in seasoning and offering for the ears. The fact that Woods used the word galoshes. You don't hear it every day. Or soliciting. I had to look that up, y'all. Listen to rap that makes you look things up. For real. Like soliciting, the rain moving through the gutters, like the way that water moves, soliciting. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, to be honest with you. You're getting points for that. You get points for the word choices. Remember, we're putting images in people's heads. And just to backtrack some, just so y'all know, the reason I think that this was the verse of 2025 is the question that begins the verse. Woods poses it as a generative question that he's being asked. What's the role of a poet in times like this? Which is to say, what's the purpose of art right now? What makes this such a great jumping off point for the verse is that the question itself exists outside of time. Times like these is any time that we are listening to it. You can pick it up. That's the thing about great literature. You can pick it up at any point, and it's going to speak to the person that you are. It's going to speak to those times. Woods is starting with an instant ellipsis, right? The rest of the verse is the living with the question, right? Spoiler alert, the role of the poet in times like these is to grapple with the times that are entangling our lives. You feel me? So let's get into number 5. Number 5, what makes a great rap verse? Imagery, of course. We've been getting at this in different forms, right? But when imagery in a stanza caresses the ear in a way that makes you want to see it on the page, that is special. It reminds me that there's deeper ways to engage with a song. Not just streaming it, not just bumping it while you're moving through the streets, not just music that just affirms the way that you live. Music that is engaging you to do more than just listen to it. So I think that's really refreshing when it's challenging. I like when things are a little challenging. In a time where I'm hearing discourse around hip hop needing to go underground, there is a sound that is surfacing at the same time. And that feels like it's being cultivated without the mainstream gaze. That's how black art works. Literally, black art works in dark. Y'all need to read Toni Morrison's Playing in the Dark. You gotta do that. There's so many innovations that occur outside of algorithms that are invitations for new possibility models, right? It's what's possible, not what's popping. Also, Wood's refusal to be photographed, I think, is also something that lends to a deeper lure of where he's coming from as an artist. But let's talk about the actual imagery used in this verse. In the middle of the verse, there is a line about dreaming of loose boats free of their moorings. We'll see. The double entendre of seaworthy, see if they're worthy, really interests me, right? And to think about boats, the historical context of slave ships, and thinking about what it's like to be a black diasporic person who is dreaming of freedom, loose of the moorings, a boat, loose, dreaming of being loose of its moorings is just... Words are powerful. Words mean things. And it also brings to mind the Zora Neale Hurston quote that she wrote as the character Janie from her 1937 novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God. The quote is, "You gotta go there to know there." And there's no way of knowing if one is ready for the vastness of life's open seas, the unknown, until you get to see if you're sea-worthy. So we'll see what washes up on the beach. We'll see. And the thing about imagery as a writer, especially a hip-hop writer, is it's about taking the image on a longer journey, and you can table that image, but what are the nuances and details that table is made of? As listeners, we want to go with you, right? So when I feel like Woods just starts to hit us with the double dolly shots through his day and week and possibly months of wrestling with the restlessness of this question, what is the role of the poet in times like these? To quote another poet, Tongo Eisen Martin, who said that there are two kinds of poems. So, one, there's a kind of poem where the poet is teaching us something. Two, there's a poem where the poet is teaching themselves something in front of us. An investigation internally that is externalized. I prefer the latter. And I like the poet teaching themselves something in front of us as a way of thinking about writing truth in an unprescriptive way on purpose. It's purposefully getting at the root of something that we're all dealing with and we're all hanging up. It's like these emotions and these human experiences that we have stored in the attics of our subconscious. And that's what brings the resonance in great rap verses. Now we on to number 6. Number 6, intimacy. I think a great rap verse also brings us closer to its author in some way. So when Woods is writing, I'm smoking in bed, scrolling my phone, novel on the nightstand So when he's saying, I'm smoking in bed, it's an intimate moment. Scrolling my phone, novel on the nightstand untouched. He knows he should be reading the book, but he's scrolling his phone. You're in bed with the author at this point. It's something that we've all done. That's what makes a great rap verse, is that it brings you in. I believe that this is my theory. The title of the song, Dogeared, is from that line. And it's like where you save the page, where you dog ear, you save the page. I'm coming back to that. Woods is alluding to the folded pages of a novel that acts as a bookmark. The role that questions play in our day-to-day lives can dog the day. The questions that really stick with us, that haunt us in the undercurrent of our lives, those questions that keep us coming back, even as we wade through the doldrums of the daily routine. What is dog-earing your day? Now we at number 7. Another characteristic of a great rap verse is if you gotta have a if moment. It's all the words that we're using are signifying different people's interaction with culture and timeline, right? So hip hop is highly referential. We know that. The listener has to be well versed to fully appreciate the art that a lot of MCs are doing, because hip hop operates on many levels at one time, and that's where the entendres, triple entendres, quadruple entendres are happening the whole time, no matter if you're locked in, tuned into that or not. I believe that Woods wields this in a really cool way on this verse when describing the reflective stance of Spider-Man when he's on the ledge with his mask off, which we all know about. As, again, it's if you were into the Spider-Man comics or whatever it was, Spider-Man be taking his mask off, sitting on the ledge, looking at the whole city. Like, damn, I'm really about to go back out there. I wonder what Mary Jane's doing. Anyway, but him using that imagery to talk about Mask Off, referencing the same song title by Future, Mask Off Like Future, is a highlight. Not only because it's just a fire line without needing to rhyme, but it's also because it brings together imagery in our minds that we've never associated with each other. We've never thought of Spider-Man and Future. We should, and now we are. It's another attribute of a great rap verse. And I think it's a literary head nod to the homies that have all type of taste, have all different kinds of knowledge and understandings. I just think it's black. Just a very black line. So the 8th and final point that I want to make about what makes a great rap verse is I think it brings the possibility to unfold a conversation. Can you take it with you into conversation? Maybe we've talked about this before, but I'll dive a little bit deeper. A series of preambles. A great rap verse can be a series of preambles. And I ask the question, is the verse making me smarter when I listen to it? Is it connecting ideas that seem unrelated? Another guide to listening to thoughtful and care-filled music is to think about, who are they rapping as? Are they rapping as themselves? Because not every rapper is rapping as themselves. There's a lot of conceptual work that's happening. And what's great about Elucid and Billy Woods and Armand Hammer is that they give you no hints. It's just, here we go. They throw you right into the song. Kind of like how Toni Morrison does. I feel like Tony be just throwing you right into the mix. You know what I mean? Thinking about Beloved, Bluest Eye, puts you right in there. Just, let's go, get to swimming. And that kind of style is not for everybody. But I think it is what made hip hop so radical of an art form. And I think currently, we've lost the plot. Yeah, I think hip hop has lost the plot once the influence and investment from white banking communities or corporate interests, whatever you want to call it, they've shifted the aspirational priorities of writers. More than it is about what it's doing to the kids and so on and so forth. I'm concerned with the aspirations and desires of what writers' goals are when they sit down to attend to a page. And it's hard for it not to seep in when you're sitting down trying to make a life, a kind of living in exchange for your stories. And our integrity takes a hit every time. Anytime that we're not investigating it. That's why that question, let's go back to the first question that Billy Wood's verse asked. What's the role of the poet in times like these? I think great art is not about how widely it can be consumed, but rather, does the art prioritize the truth? Does the art prioritize the truth? And the truth is that we're all still grappling. So outside of this verse that Billy Woods did, a fantastic verse, please go listen to it. I think rap verses can be vessels for immovable truths. I think great rap verses can be mirrors. I think great rap verses can be spells. You feel me? Y'all let me know what you think makes a great rap verse. Not just listenable, but great. What makes a great rap verse to you? So I want to say thank you to all my Patreon people that are still supporting, still subscribing, and still engaging with the work. I'm going to keep putting more long form things here, and hopefully you enjoy it. This was my first visual essay called What Makes a Great Rap Verse in 2026. Yeah, let's continue to link outside the bio. Peace.